Hey guys, welcome to RC Video Reviews. It is the 28th of November, Monday, work day. I got a question right off the bat. Don't you guys go to work? It's lunch, man. You're dedicated. You do this kind of thing over your lunch break. Hey, let's get right into the content because I know a lot of you follow the channel and you're willing to hang out and chat, but some of you are not, like regular channel followers. So for those folks, I want to get right into the material and then we'll come back and we're going to do Q&A. I'm going to take questions. I'm going to also try and go over some of the content on the website to explain, what's new here. So I'm going to hide the chat. Normally I say hello to all you guys, but I'm just going to do a bulk hello. Robert, you're in first. Good job. But I'm going to hide that and we're going to get right into material. And what I'm going to do is start by showing you OpenTX 2.3.15. I think that's the latest. If it's not the latest, it is certainly current, right? It's certainly along the vein of what's current. And I'm so used to doing my brightness control here, and I don't have that on OpenTX on this setup. Anyway, I wanted to show you this. This is OpenTX, and I'm going to click on the system button in theory, and I keep going to touch the screen. I'm so used to it on Edge now. And there it is, 2.3.15, okay? 2.3.15. And then the next thing I want to show you is that I've got the OpenTX bootloader. Because if you're coming from OpenTX, this is one of the first things you're going to need to change in order to get on EdgeTX, right? So there's the OpenTX bootloader. That is 2.3.15, all right? So we have to change that first. I'm going to turn the radio off, turn it back on. We're going to get out of bootloader. And don't worry, I'll show you the bootloader trick in just a minute. I'll show you how to get in there in case you don't know. Okay, so we'll start the radio up. And what I've got here on the screen, this is OpenTX. I'm going to press System button, and I'm going to go into the SD card folders. And under firmware, I've already got EdgeTX. Now, I will show you how to download this binary. All right, I realize it may be getting ahead a little bit, but here's, I'll show you how to get the binary in just a moment, okay? But first, I'm going to show you how to do the flash process. Oh, and before I do that, one other thing I want to show you guys too is I have models, okay? So if I click on the model button, I want to show you guys the, man, it's been so long since I've used OpenTX, I've forgotten how. All right, I keep trying to touch the screen. Okay, so there's I have some planes. I've got a Katana, a Dart, an Escapade MX, and I've got one helicopter, okay? I wanted to show you that to start with because I have models on here, all right? Okay, so now let's flash the bootloader. I'll press that button. We'll go into the firmware folder where we were before. And all I'm going to do is highlight the TX16S firmware. I'll give you the link. The link's in the description, by the way, so you can download it. But once you've selected the firmware, you just long press the jog dial here on the right, and you see this option, Flash Bootloader, okay? So let me do it again so you see it. I'm gonna move my other hand out of the way. This jog dial, you long press it, and hit Flash Bootloader. And the reason we need to do that is because the OpenTX bootloader does not like to flash EdgeTX. So we have to put an EdgeTX bootloader on first, okay? All right, now the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go into the bootloader again, and I told you I would show you how to do that if you weren't sure. We're going to turn the radio off. We're going to press T4 and T1 inbound. We press those two switches in. So T4 in, T1 in together at the same time, and then we press the power button up here. And once you see the screen flash, you can let go of all of them, and we're now in the bootloader. So remember, we switched. I had the OpenTX bootloader. Now I have the EdgeTX bootloader, okay? So the next thing we're going to do is write firmware. And again, I've already got the firmware for EdgeTX on the card. I will show you how to download it and put it on the card. Don't worry. That's going to happen in just a moment. So there's my EdgeTX. This is 2.8. So there's the binary file. I'm going to select that. And notice at the top here where it says firmware, when you are in the bootloader will only look in that firmware folder for your binaries. Okay, so it's important to put it in the firmware folder. And I'll show you that when we copy it onto the card. Okay, so we're going to write firmware, and then we're going to select the TX16S binary. We're going to press that one time to select it, and then we're going to long press it. And notice it says version 2.8 right there, okay? This is 2.8. And then we're going to long press the jog dial on the right, and that will start the flash process, okay? So that's basically how you do the flash, right? You have to, if you're coming from OpenTX, you have to first flash the bootloader, and then you have to flash the firmware. 2 steps, okay? 2 steps. Flash the bootloader first, then flash the firmware. If you're already on EdgeTX, you do not need to do this. You don't have to go through the bootloader process. And by the way, I'm not going to show you guys today how to flash from 2.7.1, which is where a lot of you are going to be coming from. I'm not going to bother showing you that because there's nothing special about it. You simply put the firmware on your card and flash it. That's it. The radio will take care of the rest. And if you're coming from 2.7.1, you won't have any issues with widgets or model settings or anything else. It's just going to work. Okay. I'm not going to show you that one, but if you're on 2.7.1, this is a very short putt for you. Okay, so now our firmware is written to the radio. I'm going to go ahead and hit return. That's this button right here, back out. And then we'll back out again. We'll hit exit and we'll get the heck out of here. And what's going to happen is we're going to get a notice that says, hey, we have to convert your stuff. We're going to convert your radio settings and we're going to convert your models. Now, Robert has an affinity for saying this, and I don't say it enough. Back up your SD card before you start this entire process, because once you convert your binary files from OpenTX to YAML files on EdgeTX, you can't go the other way. You can go from binary to YAML. You cannot go from YAML to binary. There's no process to revert. So the simple answer is, before you do any of this, back your SD card up. Okay, make sure you do that. Okay, so now that we've added EdgeTX firmware to the radio, it's telling us right now, hey, we got to convert. We're gonna make some changes to your stuff. And the two things that are going on here are that it's converting your radio binary settings. So when you set up your radio, you calibrate your sticks and your pots and your 6-position switch and all that stuff, and it gets written into a radio settings file called radio.bin on OpenTX. In EdgeTX, they've rewritten that to be a YAML file or a plain text file. So they're going to convert your settings file into a YAML file. That's the first thing that'll happen. And then they're also going to convert your models into YAML. Okay, that's what this warning is about. It's not a bad thing. It's just a process we go through. So I'm going to hit the jog dial to let the conversion happen. And there it went, that fast. Now, one of the biggest questions I get all the time on converting from OpenTX to EdgeTX is, hey, I lost my models. You know, and the reason I think people say that, I believe the reason people say that is because when they have OpenTX and they have all their widgets set up and then they load EdgeTX, they see this and like, what the hell? Where's all my stuff? And it looks like your stuff is gone. I can understand that. I do get that. I do get that. But the reality is your stuff's not gone. So let me show you where your stuff is. Okay, now keep in mind, on EdgeTX they changed some things on the way the models are arranged on the radio. We'll cover that in just a minute, but I wanted to show you after the conversion that your stuff's not gone. Your widgets are gone. So what I mean by widgets too, let's talk about that. What I mean by widgets is you have to go in and set up a widgets, and I'm just going to set one up and I'm going to do model info, and that's going to be my picture. See, there's my Tron 7 helicopter, and I can add another widget. We'll call it a timer. We'll do timer 1. See, those are widgets. That's what I'm referring to when I say your widgets are gone. So no matter what you had set up, either on the main screen or up here in the top bar on OpenTX, when you convert to EdgeTX, all that stuff goes away. You're gonna have to re-add it. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. Okay, so now you can see that I still do have a model here, and I'm gonna press the model button, and we can see on the model button, there's the model setup. I need to long press the model button. There we go. So I've long pressed the model button, and now we're in the new label system for EdgeTX 2.8. This is new as of EdgeTX 2.8. Okay, so the way we kind of work with our models, that's a big change. For those of you coming from 2.7.1 or from OpenTX, it's a very big change in the way we deal with things. Now, this actually looks a little more familiar to OpenTX than it does to the prior versions of EdgeTX. It actually kind of does. So what I'm going to do is show you how to apply some labels real quick, and I'm going to make a label. So the first thing I want to do is just make a label. I'm going to call it helicopter or heli. All right, so H-E-L-I. And I'll just put a check there, and we'll save that. And now I'm going to go into my unlabeled section real quick. And I'm going to take this Tron 7 and long press it. And we're going to do edit labels, and I'm just going to add heli. Okay, so now when I click on this heli label, there's my Tron 7. All right, that's label handling on EdgeTX. That's the way that works. Okay. All right. That's the flash process. Now, the reason I wanted to do that, guys, was to show you exactly how simple it was to switch, or how simple it is to switch from OpenTX to EdgeTX. We are 10 minutes in this video. I've been talking the whole time and explaining it, and we're done. The conversion's finished and all my models are here. So You know, I just wanted to show the OpenTX folks coming in. It's not a problem. The only thing you have to worry about is adding your widgets back in. Okay. So that's that. That's the content that I really wanted to cover. And I've got a Blackboard out. So we're going to get the Blackboard out and we're going to get the workspace out. And we're going to cover some other questions and you know, some material that you're going to want to understand. So the first thing we'll do is I'm going to go to the workspace first because I want to show you guys the page. And I have this link in the description, so don't worry about trying to track it on the live stream. It's in the description. So all you have to do is go here and you can see all the information. Okay, all I did was take this information off their webpage and condense it into a little bit more of a readable format for you guys. Okay, but everything you need to know is here, including the link for downloading the firmware. So here's the firmware. I'm going to show you how to put this on the radio because I said I would. Okay, so here's the firmware. And then the other thing I want to point out is Companion. They have links for Windows 64-bit, 32-bit, Mac, and Linux. Okay, so all of those versions of Companion are here. You need to upgrade Companion. If you use Companion, upgrade Companion. Okay, because in Companion for 2.8, they added the label system. And if you stick with 2.7, you're not going to see that. So you got to download Companion. Just click on it, download it. That'll be put on the desktop. It should be right over here. Here's EdgeTX Companion. I don't know if I have that window. Here it is. There's Companion. There's a download. And then you want to get the firmware. So here, click on the firmware, and that'll download that to your desktop. And that's right here. I have that right there. There's my firmware. Okay. So all I'm going to do now is open up this firmware, and we're going to take the binary file. I'm going to minimize the browser window here. We're going to grab the binary file we need for our radio. In my case, I'm using a TX16S, so that's this one. And I'm just going to copy it to my radio. Now, let me show you, because people actually ask me this stuff. I'm a little surprised, to be honest with you, but they ask. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the USB cable, USB-C, it came with your radio. It can be on. You leave the radio on. But you're going to plug that in up top. And then the radio should say, hey, what mode do you want to be in? Joystick, storage, or serial? We're going to click storage. So put it on USB storage, just like that. So click that, and that puts it in USB mode. And then when you've done that, what'll happen is on your computer, you'll get a pop-up. There's the pop-up. That firmware folder that you see right there, we don't care about that. Get out of there. Just close it. You don't need to be in there. There's nothing for you in that folder. You're looking for this one, okay? This one is the one you're going to work in. And remember, I told you got to put the firmware in the firmware folder so the bootloader can see it. This is what I was talking about. So click on that, and then take the file from your desktop that we just copied, right? We just copied that. Did I put it? I didn't put it on the desktop. I'll put it on the desktop now. There we go. It's on the desktop. Now I'm going to take this file that I just dropped on my desktop, and I'm going to put it in the firmware folder on my card. It's probably going to give me an error because I already have it there, but yeah, see, replace. I already had it there, so it's giving me an error. I'll just replace it. So that's how you get the firmware on the radio. All right. Remember when we did the bootloader? Remember when I showed you how to flash the bootloader? That's the file that I used. Okay. And then when we were in the bootloader, that's the binary that I used to flash the firmware. They're both the same thing. The binary has both the bootloader and the EdgeTX firmware. Okay. So with that done, I'm going to go ahead and pause here. I'm going to go back to the main, the big camera. I'm going to set Precious aside there for a second. I'm going to turn on the chat, and I'm going to take a look and see if there are any questions real quick. So, okay, I don't see any. I see a little chit chat. Hey, we have to add a very simple touch support to the bootloader. Yeah, that'd be cool, Matt. He's on the Edge team. He says we want to add a very simple touch support to the bootloader. That'd be cool. That'd be very cool. Who's got that deal on the new TX16? Talking about deals. I like Edge. I agree. I like Edge too. Okay, I don't see any questions, so I'm going to keep going. Is this TX really worth buying? Anyone? I have RadioLink ATS. Yeah, man, I think so. Model planes. Yeah, definitely. The TX16S Mark II is a top, what I consider to be a top shelf radio when it's done right. So Apache Smoke Wounded Sniper says, I'm still on 2.50. Is there anything I have to do special? You can just go straight to 2.8, man. The radio will take care of everything you need. Believe me, if you can come from OpenTX like I did on this video, if you can come from OpenTX 2.3.15 to EdgeTX without any intermediate steps, you can absolutely come from prior versions of Edge, no problem. Just be aware, If you upgrade from something prior, upgrade Companion. If you use Companion, you have to upgrade it. That's one of the things that got some people into trouble earlier, is they weren't upgrading Companion and they were getting duplicate file names. The binary files were getting messed up with YAML files. It was kind of a mess. So you have to upgrade Companion if you use it. Okay, that's important. And also back up your stuff. Can't stress that enough. Back up your stuff. Let me show you. I tell you guys all the time to back up your stuff. Let me just show you. I'm just going to show you guys how to do it so you know. Okay, we're going to take our USB cable, because some people ask for help on how to plug the computer into the radio. So you take a USB cable. Now the other end of this cable is plugged into a USB port on my computer. Okay, that's all I've done here. There's nothing magic. So I'm going to plug that into my radio. I'm going to get the prompt for USB storage right there. And I'm going to select that. Come on, camera, help me out a little. There we go. This is not the new camera, by the way. This is the old camera. Right, so USB storage. And then I'm going to go back to my workspace, and you'll see those windows pop up. And while we're waiting for that to happen, I'm going to go ahead and why aren't they popping up? There they are. Come on. Come on, Windows. Help a brother out, man. We're live. Don't need technical issues. Okay, so I'm going to show you how easy it is to back up your SD card. Okay, it's simple. We're on the desktop, anywhere you want. You can put this wherever you want. I'm just doing it on the desktop for ease of use for you guys, okay? So I'll just call this, I'll call this my OpenTX backup. You know, whatever. Call it whatever you want. And then all you have to do is take the files right here, these things, and drop them on that folder. That's it. That's all you got to do. It's that simple. Now you're backed up. And if you need to revert, now of course do this before you flash, right? But you know, if you need to revert back to OpenTX, it's as simple as going back into the bootloader, reflashing OpenTX, and while you're in there, dropping your OpenTX data back on the radio. And you're back. You're done. It's that simple. There's really nothing to it. So just back up your stuff. I can't stress that enough. I see this all the time where people go, well, I had a problem. This didn't work. That didn't work. Now I'm screwed. Well, back up your stuff. And if you back your stuff up, you won't be screwed. You can easily go back. It's very, very simple to go back. But that said, you really shouldn't have to. Okay. So anyway, the backup is just about done. I think you guys get the picture there. What I want to do now is I'm going to go back to the questions, and then after the questions, we're going to jump into some of the details on the radio. So if you haven't seen it, by the way, I have a link in the description for a very detailed top 10 video that I already did. It's in production. It's on the channel. You can go watch that to see the features in action, right? I did a video already. I'm not going to go through all the options here on this video. This is just a live stream to show you that it's here, what to expect, how to convert, and I want to cover the material, right? What's hot. So if you want to see all the new stuff in a video, go look for that one in the description. I put a link in there for you. Okay. All right. Will Companion 2.8 be backwardly compatible to 2.7 on the radio? Just curious. Yeah, you can. Yeah, there's no. What you want, well, let's be careful, because in Companion 2.8 they use labels, so it'll read your stuff, right? If you need to use Companion 2.8 to read your stuff in, you can do that. But when you do, it's going to want to write out the new format using labels. Just be aware, there were some file system changes, so it's not a straight conversion in terms of the models.yaml. Now we have labels.yaml, and that's auto-generated. So just be aware, you can't, I wouldn't try and go back and forth. You use a 2.7.1 radio with 2.7.1 companion, and use a 2.8 radio with 2.8 companion. And yes, you can have them both installed at the same time. It works. You can do it. It's a little confusing. I would just say make the jump, you know, but be careful with that. Okay. Didier Meister says, I've got OpenTX 2.2. Also straight edge, yes. There was no, nothing between OpenTX 2.2 and 2.315 in terms of file system is going to confuse Edge. They used all the binary formats for the radios. Yeah, so no problems with that. All right. Let's see, other questions in here. If you guys have questions, ask them, okay? And I'll try and do my best to answer them. Can't wait to update his new SD card content download. Yeah, the SD card content is a rolling upgrade. I'll bring that up in just a moment. We'll take a look at the website. I'll show you that. But no, you don't have to go through a full SD card content upgrade. It's always a good idea to keep your Lua scripts updated, but yeah, I don't think there's a new content. If there is, we'll see on the website in just a minute. Can you still get the heli option in Companion with 2.8? I haven't loaded up 2.8's companion and looked for that yet, Heli Zero. So let's table that and I'll bring companion up and we'll take a look. Okay. Just remind me when we get to companion. Can I use a Graupner RX and Radiolink RX? That is not a question of Edge. That's a question of NPM. So you need to go to the NPM protocol page and look there for whether or not that is supported. That's not a question for Edge. That's a question for NPM. Edge itself doesn't support radio tech. All right, that all comes from the transmitter module. So Edge supports the transmitter modules like Express LRS and TBS with the use of CRSF and PWM and PPM and all that stuff. But the protocols themselves, they come from the NPM modules or the transmitter modules. Let's see, is the Jumper T16 V2 Pro able to use touchscreen? I'm not sure. I don't have a Jumper T16 V2 Pro, so I can't answer that question. 2Glide, I just bought the new Radiomaster TX16S from Heli Direct. Great prices right now. Yeah, there's some sales, right? 2Glide says there's sales going on, which is cool. Michael says, if we miss model conversion from OpenTX, can we do it afterwards, or is it only the first boot? Well, you really don't have a choice. Just like I showed on, when I did the conversion, if you have OpenTX binary files and radio settings files on the radio, when you first load EdgeTX, it's gonna convert it. It's not gonna. It doesn't say yes or no. It's gonna convert it. Now, if you drop stuff after the fact, I think that creates confusion. So I wouldn't do that. What I can tell you is that if you install the firmware and something messes up and then later on you drop your old radio folder in and your models folder in, it will convert it again. It will do that. That's for sure. But yeah, it's not like you have a yes, no option when you first install it. You know what I mean? You have to, it just does it. This content is why Patreon is so important. Sign up, guys. Well, thanks, Blair. I appreciate that. Yeah, a little shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys. I added some new hardware to the channel lately, and that patron's really gonna help out, man. I really appreciate you guys who do that. Ken says, thanks, John Reed Companion 2.8. I was pondering the companion setup for the situation with 2 radios, one latest and one. Yeah, you can do it, Ken. Just be careful. That's all I'm saying. Be careful with your data. It'd be really easy to cross-contaminate. I've run multiple versions of Companion before, and when I thought I was in one, I was in another. So you can do it. Just be careful. DDR EU LBT, same question. That's related to the radio protocols and based on the modules. So that's that. Can you still get the Heli option? And we already covered that one. It's the same process and works for older radios, black and white screens. Okay. All right. 2.8 is out or no? Yes, 2.8 is definitely out. Okay, that's it on the questions. Let me go over to the workspace. And what I want to do, I want to go over the Blackboard. We're going to do the Blackboard first. Okay, so major new features. I just want to talk about this real quick. Major new features are, the big one is the overhaul of the UI framework, and that's a big one. They did some honest work here, and this was the thing that took so long. So the overhaul of the framework, all I can say about it is it gave them the ability to rearrange the screen layouts so that they're more touch friendly, and it also sets the stage for future development. So it was a major undertaking to do this, and it really modernizes the platform. So we got to give them real props for this. It was a heavy lift. I know they did an amazing amount of work here, but that overhaul of the UI framework, that's a big deal. The new model select screen labels, I already covered that, and that's one that I early on suggested, and I'm really happy to see it in EdgeTX 2.8. So all the credit goes to the developers, of course, for putting this together, and I think they did a fantastic job implementing it. I just freaking love the new label system. It is totally the way forward, right? It's absolutely the best model organization capability I've ever seen on a radio. It's outstanding. So really good. That's a nice new feature. Model and receiver ID warnings. What this is about is if you use the same model ID or receiver ID, it'll tell you, it'll say, hey, you use number 2 on this model. So that's a cool little feature. It's, it just improves the handling. So if you say, well, wait a minute, I don't remember using model ID 16, where is that? It'll tell you where to find it. So that's cool. They did an SD card library fix, and that helped with error handling and performance for stutters and some issues on stock SD cards. So that, that's under the hood stuff. That's stuff that you don't necessarily see, but they did it under the hood to make the radios perform better. So that was a nice upgrade. better radio settings, error handling. So if there's corruption in the YAML file for some reason, it'll create a backup copy and ask you to recalibrate. So there's a little bit of a routine inside the radio now to handle issues in case something happens to your radio settings file, which is good. That kind of hardens the radio a little bit. There were some Lua API updates that allow developers to recreate built-in widgets. So if you have a widget that's built in on the radio, they can now recreate those widgets and use them in their own scripts, which is cool. Software-based control of the UART power, that's a nice feature. So if you have pins on the bottom, if you have a radio that's got these UART pins on the bottom and you want to attach a device to them, like a GPS or a Mavlink controller or whatever, variometer, whatever you might want to put on here. Variometer is kind of stupid, right? You don't put this in the air. I don't know. Maybe they do. I don't know. I'm not a vario guy, so I don't know. But if you use these pins on the bottom line is that you got to have software control over power on these pins. So you can turn the power on and off inside the radio with software, which is cool. That's what that's about. Okay, so software-based control of UART power, special function of the main view selection. So you can now select your main screen with a special function. So you can put it on a switch. So if you have 3 different screens on your radio, you can switch back and forth with a switch, a hardware switch, which is really cool. That's a really neat feature. Think about using maybe your 6-position switch or one of your pots or sliders for that. That'd be cool. But you can change your main screen with a switch. That's a very cool little trick. Improve firmware version strings. What they did with that was, the idea on that one is, let me show you what a firmware string is so you know what the heck I'm talking about. When you're in the radio and you go into your firmware tab, if you're in this version right here where it says 2.8 Flying Dutchman, they put in information that tells them whether or not it's a nightly or a self-build. And that way, if you're having some kind of issue and they say, hey, tell me what's on your version string, if you're not running an official version, they know that you are using a nightly or, some self-compiled version. That's not a bad thing. It just helps them, get to the problem, right? Get to the root of the issue faster. So that's what that's about, improve version strings on the radio. So that's a good thing. Helps speed things up, right? They'll understand more about what's going on. And you're like, oh crap, am I running a nightly? Now you know, right? So you go to the field, if you've been messing around with the new stuff, right? And you go to the field and you're running a nightly, now you'll know. So Lua tools are sorted alphabetically, and we'll take a look at that real quick. I told you I'm not going to go through every one of these, but we'll do a couple. So if you look at the tools screen, now these are all sorted alphabetically. So the tools button, the tools screen, this guy, where all your tool scripts are for Lua, they're all sorted alphabetically now, which is kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Although, yeah, everything, yep, as far as I can see, that looks alphabetical to me. So that's cool. And then let's see, channel outputs and logging. So if you're a data junkie and you need to see your data and your logging, you get it. And then there's a telemetry link quality warning range. That's another one that I was involved in. If you go look that one up, I kind of made that issue. And what that is if we go into the telemetry for a model, in theory, if they improved it, this should be able to go all the way up to 100, and this should be able to go all the way down to 0. Well, I didn't show you guys. Well, here we go. In the telemetry page, here it is. Look at that. It works. You can go all the way up to 100. You couldn't do that before. It would stop below. I forgot what the old numbers were, but thankfully they fixed that. That's very cool. So now if you're running Express LRS, for example, you can use values that are more apropos for Express LRS for an RSSI alarm, which is really RQLY. I think they're going to do more work here. I'm guessing that they're going to do more work here so that we identify what the actual alert is. Because if you're running Express LRS, for example, that is not RSSI, it's RQLY. Just throwing that out there. So anyway, that's really cool that they opened that up, man. That's one that I opened the ticket on that, and I know Raphael was working on that. He wanted to see that fixed, so I'm glad to see that. Great job, Edge guys. Perfect, man. That's awesome. It's totally, see, this is bringing the radio, this is modernizing the radio, right? Before you were stuck with like, I don't know, 75 or something, and I don't remember, 40. It wasn't right, and so they opened the range up, which is freaking awesome. That's great stuff. Okay, okay, so that's it for the major features, and then a couple of other quick little nuggets of information. These are good to know. Does that say good to? What does that say? Good to knows? What the heck is going on here? Good to know. Okay, I don't know. That was a weird glitch. Okay, new radios. They added a support for Beta FPV, Light Radio 3 Pro, the FlySky EL18, which I've done a video on already, the iFlight Commando 8, and the Radio Master TX12 Mark II. So those are added. And then a couple of behavioral changes. You can get into full screen widgets with a long press on the widget or pressing the ENT key on the black and white radio. To model select, you have to tap twice, so that's a little bit of a different thing. You have to get used to that. That's why I was so broken on the OpenTX screen. I was like a monkey with a football. I didn't know what to do. Timer values greater than 10 minutes will announce it in minutes, which is good. And then model widgets renamed model info. So just a couple little behavioral changes for you guys there. And that's that. So next thing I'm gonna do is check questions one more time. Then I'm gonna go over to the website. I'm gonna show you how to download Companion, and then we're gonna wrap it up. So let's see. Okay, 94 watching, 33 likes. That'd be great if you guys could hit a like button. Thanks, Robert, for keeping an eye on that. Appreciate you. Let's see. Just to let your watchers know that 2.8 works fine on the jumper and was easy to convert from OpenTX thanks to your videos. Was also able to keep amber sound. Yeah, you can keep amber sound. Yeah, you don't have to switch the sound. It'll work. It'll work. It's just the WAV files, and it'll read the WAV files, so it doesn't matter which sound pack you use. You can use the Eileen, which comes with EdgeTX, or you can use Amber. It doesn't matter. Bonafide Pirate's in the house. How you doing, Bonafide Pirate? Man, great channel. If you guys haven't visited his website, he has some really cool long-range FPV capabilities. Check him out. How you doing, buddy? Let's see. Robbie's, we covered that one. Mikhail Renstrom, I have a Tyrannus X9D Plus. Is it worth changing to Edge? I posted a video not too long ago that says why it's time to switch, and I think you should go watch that video. Maybe Robert can help me out and put a link to that one in the description or in the chat for us, but I would recommend that. It is time to switch. I made a case for why I believe it's time to switch, so yes, I would say yes without question. AudioGek FPV says I just updated but have some text on the top of each other in the mixer screen. Maybe on Discord, man. Get on Discord. Let's take a look at that. I'll take a look in mine real quick. I'll switch over. Oh, I'm already here. So let's take a look at the mixer screen. I didn't see any issues in my mixer. So I don't know. This is a very basic setup though. So I don't really have anything fancy. Paste after. Yeah, I don't really see. It looks okay. My mixer looks okay when I add, lines. So I'm not really sure. Get on Discord. Let's see it. Get on Discord. There any changes for black and white radios? Yeah, I'll show you the link and you can go through the actual line by line. I chose not to go through the line by line because it's a lot and people, their eyes glaze over when I do that. So I'll show you the page though, and you can go check it out. Heli Zero says, I noticed that a self-compiled version. Yes. Yeah, it's self-compiled version strings. That's right. Bonafide Pirate says, AudioGek FPV, I have that too in RC4. Haven't updated to the release version though to check. So that's confirmed. I haven't seen any overlap text in my mixer. I don't know where are you guys seeing that. I'm curious about it. I haven't seen it. I'm in the mixer now and I don't see anything either. So I'm not sure. Okay, Lars N, great job as always. Thank you, Lars. Appreciate that. Mick says, I recently updated to 2.7 using your guide. Do I really need to update to 2.8? Well, here, let's talk about that. That's a great question. I want to cover that. I do want to cover that. Here's the deal, guys. That's a great question asked by Mick. Let's cover that. Because here's the deal. When it comes to firmware updates, right? We're flying our. I want to show you something else too while we're at this. Let's do this. Look at you see the workspace there? Oops, there's my little PowerPoint green screen. You see my little airplane here? That's a 70-inch. That's an expensive airplane. I fly that on Edge. I'm not so sure that right away I'm going to put Edge 2.8 on production and fly that airplane with it, because if there is an issue, I don't want to find out. I want to let other people find out. So I'm going to go back to this Blackboard and I want to go back to his question because it's really a good question. Let me give you guys some advice on firmware, okay? First off, I don't like putting 2.8 or I shouldn't say 2.8. I don't like putting x.x.0 on anything I own for production right away. That's not to say I won't use it. I do. I will use it. I use 2.7.0 and I use 2.6.0, but I'll wait for a little while. I'll wait for a couple days. I'll wait for a week. We've already waited. The Edge guys are amazing. They're doing amazing work, but let other people crash their stuff. That's the way I look at it. And that may sound like a kind of a jerk thing to say, but let other people figure it out. You know, let them go test, let the reports come in, and look for maybe a 2.8.1. And then you're probably going to be pretty good. Oh, another thing you can do is watch the issues log, right? There's an issues tracker. You can watch that and see what comes in. So I don't necessarily jump right off the cliff. You know, I stand there and watch the other lemmings for a little while and see how they're doing. And the other thing I'll advise you is look at the list. So here, you know, the deal, and you guys can't let influencers, right? Don't let YouTubers or influencers or anybody else talk you into something you're not comfortable doing. So if you look at this list, 2.8, and you don't see stuff in here that matters to you, then be Freddy. Don't change anything. Don't change anything. Freddy, you know, Freddy has a philosophy. You know, he runs his software and his firmware in a way. It's like Jesus talked to Freddy and said, "Hey, Fred, don't change your firmware until I come back." And Fred said, "Got it." So that's what he does, man. So you don't have to jump off the edge. That's all I'm saying. So look at the list. Make sure that you see things in here that really matter to you. And if they matter to you, then go ahead and make the change. But you don't have to. No, nobody has to. Look at the feature list and see what matters to you. All right, Fuzzy Bear says, hello from South Africa. So glad they finally catch you live. Well, I'm glad you can make it too. Audio Gex says, updated 5 minutes ago to the latest one. Okay, very nice. Hello from France. Well, hello from Florida. Skelly1 says, in 2.8, did they remove the fine-tune RX? No, it's still there. It's based on protocol, and it's still there. And I don't know if that's going to be an Edge feature. I think that's more of an NPM feature, but I'm not sure. Maybe they'll do that in Edge. I'm not sure. But no, it's still there. In fact, we'll take a look. Let's take a look just to verify, because that's a good question too. I do get a lot of questions on the frequency fine-tuning. So let's take a look. We'll do model setup, and this is just a demo radio. So I'm just going to select internal RF. We'll turn on the multi-protocol. It's going to scan the protocol list real quick. And I will select one that I know uses frequency fine-tuning, and that would be X2, and there it is right there. Frequency fine-tune, still there. So no, they did not remove it for 2.8. All right. Hi, how is the backlight managed in this version? I really like 2.5 where you could turn off the screen completely. Yeah, I don't think they did that. Let's take a look. The backlight, I think, oops, I got to get out of here. The backlight now is, I don't believe that it's completely off. So we'll do backlight. We'll do off brightness down to 0. And I'm also going to put a, I'm going to put it on a switch so I can control it. We'll do global function, and not trainer. I'll do this button. We'll do switch. It's on. You have to put it on. So let's see. There it is. On. And this will be the backlight. Did I miss it? Where's the backlight? There it is. Backlight. And I'm going to put that on my slider like I always do. Left slider. We'll enable that. Come on. And no, the slider is all the way down. There's my slider all the way down, and the backlight is still on. I think they probably had a lot of people complain that the screen went black and they thought the radio was dead and they couldn't get it back on without blowing away their radio setting. So I understand that one. I understand that's a personal preference for you, but you know, maybe you can make a feature request that says override minimum backlight brightness. That might be a good one. So no, they didn't reset it all the way down. It's pretty dim though. I can tell you that it's pretty dim, but it's not completely off. So that's what you get. All right. How do you delete a model? Okay. We'll go back and we'll go back into the model settings. We'll click model. Oops, long press model. And I'm going to do unlabeled. And let's see, I have a katana. No, not the katana. I'll tell you what, I sold the Escapade MX. I'm going to delete that one. So I'm going to, oops, there aren't my screen brightness on me. We're going to press it and then long press it. And when we do that, you'll see an option on the screen to delete model. Is that brightness too much? There you go. Did that help? Okay, so I'll do it one more time. We'll do the Dart 250. I'll press it. So now it's highlighted. And then I'll press it again and I'll give it a long press. And that brings up the model options. And then you can hit delete model. And it says, are you sure? And I say yes. And there you go. Model's deleted. So that's how you delete a model. All right. Fine tune is still there. Let me see. Can you... my USB port went bad. Can I switch without using companion? Your USB, yeah, you can take the SD card out, of course. You take the SD card out, pop it in your computer, and it'll work. And by the way, you can replace those USB ports. They're really cheap, and it takes just a few minutes. So if you broke yours, it's really easy to change them, man. It's not hard. Don't be afraid. Get in there and change it. But in the meanwhile, yeah, you can pop your SD card out, put it directly in your computer. It'll do the same thing. All right, can you show the double tap trick to model select? Mine does not work. Okay, sure. Yeah, we can do that. So here we go. I have the model select screen up, and that's not the one I have right now. I have the Tron selected. Okay, so I'll long press the model, and then I'm gonna pick the katana. So I'm gonna press it once and highlight it, and then I'm gonna long press it and hit select model, and that should change it to the katana. And if I do the widgets real quick and do the model info, that gives me the katana. There you go. So that's the katana. That's how you make the change. All right, Bonafide Pirate and some cool Lewis. Check them out. Thanks for your very good work, Burn from Germany. Well, thank you, Cusack. Appreciate you. Always glad to help. Will it bind to Radio Link RX? It depends. Again, for protocol-specific stuff, that's not Edge. That's NPM. So you got to go into the NPM protocol list, and I'll bring it up and show you because you guys are asking. I've seen this question a couple times, so let me get that out real quick. Give me just a moment. And I'm going to show you guys the NPM protocol list so you know where to go to see it. And you can find your stuff. And find out what is there. Give me just a second. I have it bookmarked with a bunch of other stuff. Where did I put it? Let's see. NPM. It looks like I lost it. There it is. I got it. Multi-protocol firmware. All right, here we go. I got it. I have a lot of links. All right, let me pop this in. I'm going to make a new window and we'll pop this in and I'll show you guys. Let me switch over to the big desktop or the workspace and I will show you. So the protocols, the link, I'll put this link in the description for you as well. Don't worry, I'll put it in there for you. But you have to go to the protocol page and you look for your protocols, right? You have to come down here and say FlySky, for example, that's the one you're interested in. We're going to go here and click on FlySky. Was that the question? Was it FlySky? Where did that thing go? Where's the question? It was FlySky, right? Radio Link. It was Radio Link. Sorry. Okay, we'll go look for Radio Link. Radio Link. Radio Link. There's Radio Link. So here, you click on Radio Link, and it'll show you what it'll do. Right? The options that you can use. Subprotocol Air 1. Subprotocol Dumbo RC2, whatever that means, and it looks like now we're in Futaba, so that's it. So there you go. It does do Radio Link, but limited protocols, and that's why it's important to look at this page. That's not an EdgeTX question. This is a NPM question that you're asking. This is not an EdgeTX question. It's based on the module that you have in the radio. Okay, let's see. Will it bind to Radio Link? Got that. Just updated 2.8. Thanks for your help. Well, glad to help. Very glad to help. Thanks for posting the Discord link, Robert. That's very cool of you. Bonafide Pirate says, if you have a spare radio that you use on the bench or sim, prime candidate for early adoption. Yeah, that's right. And only use, I don't mind, I'll go out and fly stuff, but I don't fly my good stuff. Early on, I'll fly the cheap stuff, the stuff that's easier to answer, or easier to replace is what I'll do. And by the way, the EdgeTX developers, they can't advance the cause if people don't go out and fly, right? If you don't go out and use them and figure out what's not working right, they can't advance the case. Now, that said, I really don't expect that there's a problem at all with like the main stability of the radio. I don't think that's a problem at all. My issue has more to do with the fact that I'm a YouTube channel and I can't afford to be monkeying with my radio when I'm trying to put videos together. And I really don't want to risk a big, expensive plane on a brand new firmware. So, a little bit cheaper, a little bit smaller. Sure. Yeah, I'll go out and do that stuff, but you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared for some challenges. All right. Mick says, thanks for answering. You're welcome. Jesus Nality made my day. Yeah, that's Fred, though, man. That's how Fred rolls. He's like, yeah, Jesus said, don't change anything. Fred said, got it. Until I get back. Fuzzy Bear, I'm barely able to afford the one plane I have. Don't feel a spot of guilt in letting someone else do the testing. That's right, man. Let other people test. Let others test. If you're not in the mode where you can swing it and you can't risk your stuff, then let other people test. Freddie is flying jets now, so you might want to rethink your post. Yeah, Freddie is flying jets. Skelly says thank you and hello, happy holidays from NYC. Well, welcome, Skelly, and happy holidays to you, my friend. Let's see. Let's see. What's up, all? Robert Hobie's deleting stuff. I'm trying to catch up to questions. Remember, back up your SD card. Yep. That's how I do my updates. Yep. Okay. Remember to hit the like button. Okay, good. RC video reviews. Try naming an input with 4 capitalized characters, then check the mixer screen and see if it overlaps. Okay, try naming an input with 4 capitalized characters, then check the mixer screen and see if it overlaps. Okay, so we'll do that. I'll go in, and he said name an input to 4 capitalized characters. So I don't know why you guys are naming stuff with all caps. You got a cap addiction or something? I'm just kidding. Bonafide Pirate doesn't know me well enough. These guys do. All right, 4 capitalized characters. I'll hit check there. We'll back out and we'll go here. And so there's my input with AILR. That's my big one. And then we'll do copy, and then I'll do paste after. I don't see it. There's 4 capitalized letters. I think I got it the way you described it, but I don't see it. Maybe do I have to go in it or something? No, I don't see it in there. I don't see a problem. I don't see it, fellas. I'm not sure. Is Yapu telemetry compatible with EdgeTX, ArduPilot, LuaScript? The telemetry is there. I don't know about the Yapu script itself. I use the iNav LuaScript, so all I can say is grab Yapu and install it. I believe it is, but I can't confirm that. I can't state that as fact. I don't know. I just set up a new model and reproduced it. Lol, maybe worth reporting to devs. Yeah, absolutely. If you got something like that and you can reproduce it, sure. Oh, name the mix now. Oh, you do that in the outputs, right? You name the mix in the outputs. So we'll go into here and we'll do I need to name it in all caps? We'll do ale. How's that? Okay. Okay, so I named the mix. There it is. I put a name. Is that what you're talking about, naming the mix right there? And that's what I did. And I've got caps everywhere for you guys. The stupid thing is the backlight's too short. I'm gonna let him respond. While he's doing that, I'm gonna set the radio settings to change that backlight keep that from timing out so fast. That's too fast. I've set it on max. There we go. Yeah, back out. You're not gonna get me now. You're gonna stay on. Okay, so there's the mixes. Okay, so we're back at it. I've got my mixes. I've got it named with capital letters. I've got caps in the inputs. Not sure. I'm not seeing it. Try naming the channel and see in the mixer. Edit the mix and set the name at top. Okay. So let's do edit the mix. Edit. We'll set the name at top. AILR. And we'll hit that. Oh, there it is. I see what you're saying. Right there. That's what he's saying. Yep. That's a bug. Yeah, let them know. Just put a ticket in. They'll fix that. And stop using all caps, you caps junkies. Yes, you're right. I see it now. That's definitely an overlap. No question about it. Just let them know. Let them know. And maybe instead of 4, yeah, well, you got to be able to use 4. I use 4 for complex. So yeah, I agree. That should be fixed. Just put a ticket in and let them know. I know they're watching it. They'll see this. They'll know. All right. So thanks for pointing that one out. 2.8 was coddled up to now and should be good to go. But like John said, use cheap one first. Yeah, that's right. Edit the mix. Screenshot is on Discord if you want to have a look. By the way, it doesn't need to be all caps, just 4 wide enough characters. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, good. So let's, I wanted to do one last thing real quick for you guys, just in case. I'm going to go back to the workspace real quick, and I want to show you, I'm going to close the NPM page, and I want to show you Companion real quick. And I also want to show you where to get the content too while we're at it. So let's grab Companion. Did I already download it? I did. I'll just delete it just so you guys can see it all happening at the same time. So here we go. Here's Companion. I'm going to download. I have Windows 64-bit, so I'm going to grab this one, Win64, and that'll download. And then once it downloads, right here on the desktop, we'll open that up, and then we'll run the installer. Just run it. And you do want to make the change if you use Companion. Stupid Windows errors. Run. Don't ask me questions. Obey. Obey, Windows. Okay, there you go. So there's 2.8 being installed. Make sure you do that. It's that easy. It doesn't take, it's no effort, right? It just takes a few clicks and we'll run Companion, and I'll go through the setup process later, but there's EdgeTX Companion 2.8. It's very simple to get and install. It just takes no time at all. So make sure you do that. Oh, there was a question about the heli, wasn't there? Who had the no heli question? Someone asked a question about heli. There's no heli option on here, but I don't. That's not for a firmware compile. That's not in there. I think on the firmware itself, the heli option is gone. I think if you wanted to download it, can you download it? I think you can download it. Retrieving latest for multi-protocol sounds. Look at that. Look at that. Sounds, themes. I haven't messed around in here too much. The new download process. Firmware releases nightly. Options. Download, decompress, install, copy. I don't see an option to set heli in here at all. So I'm not sure. I think they are talking about that, but I haven't cracked the code on how you might add the heli back in. So here's 2.8. I don't see an option in here to change current release assets. No, I don't see it. I don't see an option to set it. So no, but you can get on their Discord and they'll make you one. So it's not that big of a deal. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump off course. Just figured out how to reproduce it now. Yeah, no worries, man. It's all good. This is why we're here. Multi says, someone overlapping characters, all you guys fine. We're pretty happy. See, there you go. I know they're watching. I told you he'd be watching. I'll take a visual layout bug over functional one any day. Yeah, that's no big deal. They'll fix that quick. That'll be, in fact, they probably go open a ticket. They probably already have one open. Richard D says, when selecting and deleting models, you only have to tap twice. The second tap doesn't have to be a long press. Oh, okay. I thought it had to be a long press. Let's put that to the test. Let's put it to the test. So we'll go into long press model. We'll tap Escapade MX and then tap. Oh, he's right. It doesn't have to be a long press. How about that? Good catch. Good catch. Doesn't have to be a long press. I don't see any other questions, so I think that brings us to the end. I think I wanted to, one other thing I wanted to do on the screen with the browser. There was something else, wasn't there? Oh, I wanted to show you the other content. So if you want to grab updates for the other stuff, that's the firmware. I have that one in there, but all you have to do is click right here, up on top where it says EdgeTX, just click this one on the left, and that'll bring you back to the projects page. And if you want to get the SD card sounds library, that's right here. You can grab that, and then you click on the release right here, and it looks like they have some updates. So let's see, Flying Dutchman sounds, they added GB voices and JSON index, a README files modified, minor translations, rename low bat to bat. So yeah, a couple little, just little fixes. So if you want to update your sound card content, you can do that. And they have a bunch of different versions here. Here's the English version 2.8. So you can download that and just drag it on top of your sounds folder. No problem there. Let's see what else is in here. Other goodies. Let's see the SD card. So if you want to update the content. So it looks like there's some release information for this. What's changed? A new rotary gauge widget. That's cool. More intuitive folder structure naming. Rotary gauge widget, okay. Hours with Horus widget, I don't know what that is. Bat check 8 cell and Lion. So Offer Shmuley's been busy. He added a bunch of stuff, man. Good job, Offer. Bat analog support, lithium ion battery, model locator support, additional sources, SOAR ETX for 2.8. So yeah, there are a couple of contents in the SD card contents you might want to grab. And if you're curious about that, you simply, just go down here, find the one for your radio. I think this is 480 by 320, but let me show you that in case you don't know. It explains, it's 480 by 272. It explains on this screen what the different packages are. So they renamed them based on your resolution of your screen. So make sure you get the right one for your radio. You don't want to put like Nirvana 420 by 320 by 480 on a TX16S. That'd be bad, right? You don't want to do that. You want to grab the one for your radio. So in my case, TX16S Mark II, I need the 480 by 272. So I'll click back on the releases and I'll get the 480 by 272 right there. We'll download that. And then all you have to do to install that is just open it up and just drag these files onto your SD card. That's all you got to do. That's simple. That's simple. There's nothing to it. You might, if you back your stuff up first, you definitely won't have a problem. All right. Other goodies. Let's see what else did they update. Themes. Let's see anything new with themes. If you haven't gotten all the themes, you might want to go download all of them. You can get the entire theme zip with all the different themes that are available on the radio instead of the ones that just come stock. So there's a bunch of themes in here, including some, hey, check that out. That's RCVR Cool Blue, baby, right there, huh? Yeah. So you get the themes. Make sure you update your themes. And then that's about it. You can update your Lua scripts as well if you want. The Lua script repro is right here, and the source code is right here. So you can download that and install that in your scripts directory on the radio as well. So we'll pull that up. We'll take a look at that. Lua scripts latest. I don't see much there. Central place to share example Lua scripts. So yeah, there's nothing in there. You don't need that. You don't need that one. There's nothing in there for you. It's just a place to share them. So you don't need that. Nothing in there that you can use. All right, let me see if there are other questions. And if not, I will wrap this one up. So multi-overlapping. Okay, got that. I'll take visual. Okay, got it. When selecting deleting models, got it. For heli, you have to build yourself or ask someone. Yeah, okay. Thanks for clearing that up. I thought there was some option eventually in Companion where that was going to be maybe in here, right? I thought that's kind of what we were going to be adding. But if not, you know, we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm glad the heli thing is gone. I've been turning that off for years. So I'm glad that's gone. I fly helis too, but I don't need the heli page. All my stuff is flybarless. Wolfie says, Risto posted this morning to get the heli tab back. You have to compile your own or get it from someone that has it. Yeah. I can compile stuff too. So if you're really stuck, go to Discord, get on the EdgeTX Discord and ask them, or come in our Discord and ask me. I can compile. No big deal. Gula Lamper says, what about the DSM forward programming? I want to use my TX16S with eFlight Avion receiver thrust reverse function. You're going to have to find the DSM script for that and put it on the radio and try it out. Unfortunately, I don't have any Spectrum gear, so I really can't speak with any authority to it. So I'm not a very good person to help with that kind of thing. I apologize. Blair Stern says EdgeTX 2.9 needs Canadian translation. Robert says, I hear you, All right. All right, guys, I think that's it. I think we covered everything you want to know. That was the Q&A. I appreciate your questions. You guys, no doubt, man, you guys help make that interactive, which is great. I appreciate that. And if you're coming from another firmware, don't be afraid. You know, EdgeTX is pretty solid. But like I said, you know, use your own judgment. If you can't afford a crash or you don't want to be a tester, you might want to just sit it out and wait for a little while. If you have no fear and you have some models that you don't mind doing some testing on, you know, install it and try it out, because the only way, again, that they can advance the case, like we saw at Bonafide Pirate and AudioGek FPV, the questions they answer, the only way they can advance that is with people going out and trying stuff. So hopefully that makes sense. Well, I want to say thanks so much to the EdgeTX team. I know it was such a hard lift, and I'm personally so very grateful for the amount of work that they're putting into this software for us. So I'm very grateful for that. I want to say thanks to the team for their hard work. Congratulations. It looks fantastic. And there'll be, I know it's just all hopefully downhill from here. I don't think they have any major system rewrites. I know they're preparing for some CPU updates. I get that part. But I don't think they're doing like any major functional changes. So they'll probably be focusing a little bit on cleanup and aesthetics and, you know, kind of binding the whole LVGL thing together for 2.9. You know, I know that that's kind of the plan. So we'll just wait and see. And I'm grateful for the work they do. So thank you guys for all your efforts on EdgeTX, and congratulations on the 2.8 release. Outstanding. Looks great. Smash the thumbs up button. Yeah, I appreciate that. If you guys give me a thumbs up and leave a comment after the video, that helps too with video placement on YouTube. They like to see interaction. So you guys interact with video. That's really awesome. All right, fellas, I appreciate you hanging out with me over your lunch break on Monday. I hope you have a fantastic week and get out there and fly something.